everybody, it's me, Oberon again, once again for TFT Tarot for today, and I'm here with my weekly tarot forecast called Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, and that's my weekly tarot forecast where I spread the cards for the emotional ups and downs, upheavals, downturns, currents, undercurrents in your life. And we do this for the Zodiac signs as ordered by their element. And so this reading is good for Friday, June 19th, till the following Thursday, which should be the 25th, June 25th. So, very good. So let's go. So first thing we do is we do the word of the week. And we do that for each of the signs as we give their reading. Okay, and first we start with our air signs. Our air signs are Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. And their word for the week is the unforeseen. So I think that Geminis, Libras, Aquariuses need to think maybe a little bit in their emotional parameters about what unforeseen things could possibly be happening and how you would apply your own wisdom or how you would apply stability to the emotional currents that may end up bringing you. So keep that word in mind. Be wary or prepared for the unexpected. Let us say that. So we're going to do our reading right now then. And I want you to remember that, of course, tarot readings are a snapshot in time, and they are but the idea of what could be most likely seen at that moment in time, but it's really just advice, it's clarification for your thoughts. It's an expression. Okay, so now we have our cards. And your first card is the Queen of Cups reversed. And your second card is the Five of Pentacles, Five of Discs reversed. All reversed. And then the third card is the High Priestess reversed. Yes. So what do we have here? So Queen of Cups does indicate that there are some emotional things going on in your life in this next week, and it may resolve around the fact that you're having quite a flight of fancy, perhaps. You're really taken away with certain situations, and I'm wondering if it has something to do with some sort of equalization with the bad feelings you may have had, the doomsy feelings you may have had. I mean, Five of Pentacles really talks about like that whole, worst night ever, worst day ever, but it's reversed in this case. So to some degree, there's sort of like a pulling around effect. There's maybe there's actually kind of like a twig in the stream that's just kind of diverting the flow and causing those things to be more seen, to feel the hope that is actually there, because the Five of Pentacles says there is a lot of hope there, but you're not able to see it for some reason. And maybe a big part of that is the way your imagination is just running away with you, and it could very well be because of other cards that are going on too. Like I'm seeing this High Priestess reversed here, and I don't know, you're not able to get in touch with yourself. All of these things really are expressing a lot of self-doubt, maybe contributing to that whole dark night of the soul, because the High Priestess reversed to me in this context is really saying that you're not able to perceive your own wisdom somehow. You're not able to bring that out. It could very well be that maybe it's being given to you and you're just not able to accept it at this time. And I'm thinking this is all stuff that's going on in your emotional life more so than, other aspects of your life. So it's really a lot of headiness. And I think you're maybe just barely handling it is what I'm sensing here, because a lot of this is really like, the environment around us is doing so much of this. So I'm thinking that, of course, now it kind of makes sense that maybe with that unforeseen card there, what we're seeing here is that there's going to be some things that are really going to tip the scale in this next week. And I would advise you to hang on and just be as cool and calm as you can be, because it looks like it's going to be a pretty bumpy ride, as they say. So that's what we have for the air signs. Let's try our luck with fire signs now. And fire signs are Aries and Leo and Sagittarius, and they might be considered more impulsive or more dynamic in certain ways. They have those kind of qualities, but they obviously have a whole packet of qualities too that are quite noble. And one of them is maybe expressed in the word of the week, evolution, that I think sometimes the fire signs are really more about evolution in a way. They're very transformative, and maybe that's the basics of evolution. So keep this word in mind for this next week, guys, because maybe you will have opportunities to apply the evolutionary principles and transformative principles into those emotional currents that could be swirling around you. Let's see what those might be. And remember to please like, and if you're not subscribing, go ahead and subscribe, because we do have a lot of other content. Later this week, I think possibly in a day or so, we're going to be presenting our other astrological reading, the monthly modality message, which is pretty unique as far as astrology tarot readings go, we think. And we usually do that right as the sun will turn into the next sign. So we are moving into Cancer. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm just going to adjust myself here in the seat. And we're pulling our cards. And our first card for fire signs is the Ace of Cups. And our second card, whoops, excuse me, is the Six of Discs, or Pentacles, or Stones, Coins. And then our final card is the reversed Seven of Cups. So what are these telling me? Well, I think with our fire signs, maybe something really great is happening right now for them, or will be happening in this week. And I'm wondering actually too, maybe if a love relationship or a strong emotional relationship is taking itself to the next level, or if it's just really going to actually begin, if it hasn't begun. And I'm also seeing too, though, that with that Six of Discs, some of this is about surrender. And I'm thinking that maybe what's happened is that if somebody has been feeling a pull towards somebody, something else, but they really felt that they just weren't ready yet, but they're maybe surrendering now. And maybe a big part of that is that Seven of Cups, because I'm thinking, you know, maybe you had been playing the field. Maybe you have room in your life for a number of relationships or strong loves, and maybe they're not even necessarily partners or potential partners. Maybe there are just some really strong, pleasurable choices that are taking you into new, joyful areas of your life, and now you're finding that, you know, really you have to surrender yourself to that passion, and then in a way it will choose itself for you. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here. Isn't it cool? So I can't really say too much more than that. I hope that's working, but I have a really strong sense on that one. So I'm going to just go with that. Say, fire signs, your evolution would seem to include this transforming love, and that this surrender and devotion that you're going to bring out of it. So we're going to move on now to our water signs. Water signs are Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces. And water signs tend to be a little bit more fluid and emotional in most matters, let alone emotional matters. But they have a word of the week too, and that word of the week is examination. And what is examination? I guess it's really just studying something. Really trying to view it from all angles, trying to understand every aspect of it. It's kind of like a physical examination. If you go to a doctor and you have an examination once a year, whatever that is, you know, they're going to try to look at you from every possible angle and look at your whole body Now, maybe this isn't necessarily just a physical examination. I mean, we're talking about emotional matters. So it could just be that what we are examining this week is really the strong qualities of our relationships and the things that bring us pleasure, things that are joyful and loving in our life. So here are our cards for the week. And they are, we have the Empress reversed. We have the Star upright. And we have the Three of Discs, and that one's upright. Well, the Empress reversed isn't really a great card for any sign, water sign, fire sign, whatever. It could just be that maybe this is a time now for you to examine, to go deep, go within yourself and understand what may be causing some of that stagnation in your life, and that maybe this is really felt in the emotional level, like just you really have these strong feelings that somehow things have really become glacial in our ability to understand each other, as well as just, you know, all of those normal aspects of what involve a relationship. But, you know, my goodness, we have to have strong feelings for each other, but we also have to really have depthful understandings that take in part every view, because it's an examination. But I think if we do that, I think that if we really try to get in touch with that inner self that is the true creative heart of ourselves, expressed by an Empress, that we would also find we can turn this around and we can bring out that Star. Because the Star is how we find hope and inspiration. And sometimes it's not necessarily transcendent and outside of us, but maybe sometimes it's within us. It's immanent. And so I'm thinking that that's what the Empress reversed and examination are calling us, is to find that Star. And then we arrive at the Three of Discs, which of course seems to indicate reward, compensation, acknowledgement of our talents. And because we're talking about our emotional realm, then I'm just going to have to say that in this next week, something really makes us really have to examine some of the relationships we're having, whether they're the primary relationships or just some other good close relationships, like we never have examined them before. And that this may be a time of really big changes. I mean, you've lived with somebody, you know, for many years. Yeah, you're not going to necessarily make an extremely sweeping change, but what about all those people that you've just known who weren't your super close relationships, but were people in the fabric of your life, you know, like family people or friends of friends or things like that? You may find that maybe this is the time to really consider where your friendships do lie. What are those feelings that inspire you, and who has given you those? Who acknowledges you? So that's what I'm going to say for the water signs. Don't forget to do that examination process as often as you need. And now we're going to conclude by going to our earth signs. Earth signs are Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn. And they tend to be the card or the type of sign that maybe is the most stable and balanced, at least in appearance, outward appearance, as far as relationships go. It could just well be that they're really able to shelter their emotionality under a calmer exterior or interior even than a lot of us can. But they have a word of the week too, and their word of the week is impediment. And so earth signs, I'm just going to take a guess out there, but say that maybe there is some sort of little fly in the ointment or something that maybe will interfere with their normal, you know, solid deductive abilities, you know, Everybody has a bad day. You might have a bad week. I don't know. But at least apply that kind of understanding of how to deal with the impediments of your life. I mean, sometimes you do have to remove them totally. And then maybe sometimes you just have to figure out where they actually fit in. You know, I used to have an old friend. I think he had this saying that went something like, um, life is a glove. Sometimes it fits, but you're not really in it. Isn't that kind of silly? I don't know. That's kind of different. Anyway, I am cutting those cards, and now I'm going to have the reading for the earth signs. Okay, and I have drawn those cards, and they are. We now have a Four of Swords reversed. And then we have a Three of Cups upright. And then at last we have the Seven of Wands, and that one's reversed. And I'm thinking in the matters of emotion, maybe somebody like the earth signs are losing a position they have, and maybe they're going to fall head over heels in love with somebody or something. I think they're going to be overwhelmed with emotions, and I think they're going to kind of throw caution to the wind, lose their advantage. And I think a large part of that could also be something to do with maybe because it's just been a long time for them. And, it's been a long time for everybody if we're just thinking about things like our quarantine issues or something like that. But it could be, too, that maybe earth signs have just really been kicking back, as they say, and maybe emotional matters haven't really, been strong in their life. And I'm just thinking, a lot of things are changing in this next week. I mean, we are going into our Mercury retrograde, and it does seem also, too, that a lot of us are now starting to reopen up, our workplaces or our governmental jobs or our situational jobs are all reopening again or starting to. And so those are a big part of the adjustments of this next week, and I feel those energies are in there. So with the earth signs, I'm thinking it's really likely that you are coming back to what you considered more normal, your normal self. You've been kind of out of sorts or in seclusion for a while, and you're ready to enjoy spring. But you have to remember that you could lose some advantages. And I'm thinking that applies to the emotional aspects here. You could not necessarily be ready to try to succeed in the affairs of the heart. It could just be that maybe it's time to move on. I'm wondering if the impediment is yourself and your own attitude. I don't know. I'm not really sure with that one. So I'm just going to let it go because I think we are done with our emotional exchanges for the week. But I do thank you for being here, and I hope you got something out of it. So please go ahead and take care of that liking thing for me, if you will. And until we meet again next Friday, this is Oberon saying have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.